I'm here in Las Vegas at Interactions 2025, and I'm sitting here with the now not so new CEO, Scott Russell. My name is Sheila McGee-Smith, and I am an industry analyst that's been covering this space for 35 years. So hopefully, not too much of a challenge for a guy who's coming into this very specific
I'm
space.
already in awe of your experience, your knowledge. I'm going to learn a lot. Maybe we should be interviewing the other way around.
So let's get started. I heard your keynote yesterday. Congratulations.
Thank you.
First time on the silver screen stage there with your shiny shoes.
With my shiny shoes.
Yes, we have to make
apparently.
sure that's part of the historical record, the shiny shoes. You talked about reimagining customer experience. Do you think there are any barriers to accomplishing that in enterprises? As those customers sat there, what was going through their head about, well, I can't do that because?
Yeah. So first of all, it's great to be here and great to speak to you, Sheila, and thanks for the time this morning. Look, to answer your question, I think the first thing that I recognize joining this organization, joining NiCE, but also joining a forum like this with nearly 3,000 people that are all CX industry, that they're deep in this industry, really understand the business, the market, the needs of their end consumers, their needs of their organizations, their product, their brand. So the opportunity to be able to tap into that knowledge and be able to present a vision, which we all are united on, reimagining customer experiences. Who doesn't want to do that? And we also know the role that AI plays to be able to fast track that, to be able to, is immense. But there is no doubt that the opportunity versus the reality, there are gaps. Now, there are ones that are present in any industry. Regulation, ethics and boundaries around AI, the rules and there is also capabilities, and there's concerns about, well, how does it overlap? But I think in particular for customer experience, what I'm hearing from customers is they're obsessed about adopting and deploying AI capability, but that needs to be commensurate with great customer experience. And they're concerned that as they introduce these capabilities, that there might be some disruption. So I think the main thing that I've heard is we will move forward, we're with you, NiCE, but how we roll it out, how we deploy it, needs to be a progressive improvement. We don't want disruption because we've spent so long delivering our brand and our value and our capability to our customers that can't be disrupted in any way. So it's a good message for us. The stability, the capability of our platform always needs to be on, always needs to be available, always needs to deliver. And then the AI allows you to reimagine and transform.
Excellent. So let me pull a thread there. You said AI is part of the concern. How will I do that? Am I ready for that? This week, you announced a even deeper relationship with AWS. It was a follow-up to something even a month ago where you announced a deeper relationship. What impact does that have directly on your customers, the changes in the relationship you have with AWS?
Yeah, Sheila, so there's two things. When we talk about AI, I think the initial thought about AI was more about automation. And a lot of tech companies talk about automation and efficiency. At NiCE, we really zero in on the human connection with the technology. Now, the human connection is with a consumer, the human connection is with an agent, a human agent, and the human connection is to other stakeholders within the company. AI can play a pervasive role to be able to help support growth. So, for example, Copilot, for a live agent, being able to get more detailed information in a way that's consumable, that they can have a faster response, faster call resolution or chat resolution, well, that just helps. So I think the positive is when rolled out effectively, AI is a power of positivity, but if it's disruptive, obviously that's what they're concerned about. Now, to your question about AWS, we firmly believe at NiCE that we are a central part of the customer experience platform and the capability that brands take to their consumers, but we're not the only player. We're also part of an ecosystem of technology players, AWS being a really important one because they provide the underlying LLM with Bedrock, their Q business about connecting disparate data, not just from our platform in NiCE, but on CX1 Empower, but other platforms as well, bringing it together and making it available in a customer experience scenario. So we're leveraging their technology, our deep insights of CX put together on the one platform, and that means for our customers, they get the 1 + 1 equaling 3, 5, even 10, because they're also leveraging AWS in other ways as well.
Okay. So you talked about the impact on customers. What about your partners? So partners are an important part of that ecosystem that you talked about, right? Delivery through partners is something I think you even want to increase as you go even more strongly globally. So what impact does the AWS partnership have on how you work with your partners and how your partners work with you?
Yeah, there's a few things. The partners have really responded well, whether you're a reseller, a services partner, or other stakeholders. There's a few things that's really important. One is many of our partners also work with AWS on non-CX scenarios. So they've got a diverse business and they work with Bedrock, they work with the Cubase, they work with the underlying AWS platform to build other capabilities. And so what they look at and say, well, now that I can leverage this together with what we do ourselves, we can build more impactful solutions for our customers. So it's a business opportunity. The second is by announcing and making CX1 Empower available on the AWS marketplace, it means our partners who are very accustomed to be able to work with end customers and being able to transact on the AWS marketplace, it's easier, it's seamless. And I love that, Sheila, because when I talk about creating a nice world, obviously I'm doing it in the lens of a customer experience and agent experience, but I'm also doing it from the NiCE experience, how we are as a company, how we show up, how we present ourselves, and being easy to do business with. And so having a forward collaboration with AWS, making it easier for our partners to work with us, that can only help them create more value for our customers in the end. That's our objective.
Absolutely, absolutely. So the relationship with AWS, stronger, that's relatively new. Relationship with ServiceNow, also recently announced. Both the CEOs of AWS and ServiceNow recorded clips for your keynote. That's very impressive. Sometimes you get lower level people, CEOs coming up for you. How have your salespeople been trained to understand the co-opetition elements of working with AWS and ServiceNow?
Yeah.
Both of them are also have a CX play. So what's the message to
They
your
do
sales
indeed.
teams?
And I feel for you, Sridhar, by the way. We announced the partnership with Snowflake as well, but it was so recent I couldn't get the production
there's less
time.
overlap.
But there's less overlap. and look, we've been leveraging the Snowflake platform for a long period of time. So I think there's a few things. First of all, actually our salespeople are quite accustomed to this conversation, because whilst we as an organization hadn't shared the broadening of the partnership, when you're in a customer scenario, we get asked the question all the time by our customers, hey, we leverage AWS for this, but how does that fit with you here? We use ServiceNow for here. How does that fit? And so the first thing is our sales teams and our account teams are very happy because it gives a connective capability, so it lessens any concerns about potential product overlap. The second is it gives them clarity about where the 1 + 1 = 3. So in both of those scenarios, we're building combined capability. This isn't just a go-to-market announcement, we're building products. So for example, with ServiceNow and Bill and the team, we're building capability to connect into ServiceNow's AI CSM platform. So when we think about orchestrating workflows across front, middle, and back office, they are building capabilities independent of us that we can tap into, and we're going to pre-build those. So from a service experience from a consumer or from an agent, it's out of the box. So we're excited about that, and our sales teams are excited. The other thing is, look, if you're in the world of tech, there is co-opetition. There's always going to be overlaps. The way I've always viewed this in my career, and the way I've stressed it to the NiCE team is, don't be obsessed about the exception. Think of the whole, and of the whole, the large majority, we are compatible. We're not overlapping. We've got great commensurate capabilities. And yes, there's a small part of the portfolio that might overlap. We back ourselves in to be the best platform to deliver to the NiCE world vision.
Excellent. So if I think about the ServiceNow, AWS, and as you mentioned, Snowflake, you're doing those partnerships for a reason. You touched on it there, but is there anything else you can say about how those partnerships and more that you mentioned may be coming will enhance the AI strategy and delivery of solutions, perhaps speed? How is that going to happen?
Yeah, and you're right. I obviously haven't announced other partnerships, but I've set the expectation, I've set the tone. We're not done. There are other really important partnerships that we're looking forward to sharing, and we want every one of these partnerships to be able to create incremental value. So to answer that question, how does it help? Well, I'll give you the example on the AWS side. AWS have a great underlying platform with Bedrock, and their models and what they've created with the LLM and Q Business, which is all about the indexing and connecting disparate sets of data, zero copy, and being easier for us to be able to use that. What it means for us is in the CX1 platform, we're leveraging those capabilities, i.e. the AI innovation that AWS are building not only for CX, but for other scenarios, and we're embedding it into our platform, which means for customers, not only are they going to get the best of NiCE, but they're also getting the best of AWS. Secondly, they look at that and they say, all right, is there adjacent areas that we're working with AWS that's non-CX related that we can bridge? Because let's face it, in the world of CX, we are very focused on the interaction. But as you've heard at this event, we believe our ability through Empower agents to perform tasks and do fulfillment, well, that touches roles, functions, workflows, tasks that happen in the mid and the back office. And AWS have a lot of capability, so does ServiceNow, so does Snowflake, in being able to support use cases, and we can tap into that innovation out of the box from our platform.
So it's interesting. One thing I think of is vertical plays in AI. And when I think about what I know about AWS, what I know about ServiceNow, they have those plays.
They do.
Have you looked at how that might integrate with how you're approaching the market?
Yeah, we do. So I'm glad you asked that, Sheila. So two things. First of all, whilst we're very proud that we're in 30 industries, I always say to my team, is there really 30 industries? But apparently there are when you break it all down in the sub-industries. But each industry vertical, there is a lot that is common across creation of a new customer, all those scenarios, and that's true across every. But then you get very deep and specific. So for example, in financial services, KYC requirements when you go into that. And so in our innovation partnerships with ServiceNow and AWS, using industry verticals, so starting in, for example, financial services, in service industries where we've got a lot of experience, where they do as well. So we start with those, but we're not limited to those. And that when we roll out this capability, we will do so with an industry flavor as a progressive rollout rather than be exclusive to that set.
Okay, let's shift the focus back to the customer.
Okay.
So you had Arun Chandra.
I did.
From Disney on the stage with you yesterday.
Yes.
Fantastic conversation.
Great speaker.
Incredible, yes. So one of the things that he emphasized was the need for change management.
Yes.
So how can your NiCE employees, salespeople, service people, help enable customers with that change management?
Yeah. There's a few thoughts that we have on this. One of the reasons why we launched the AI Center of Excellence was exactly that reason. We recognized that having great technology, having Copilot and Autopilot, delivering auto summary, rolling out Empower Agent, our workflow orchestrator, they're great capabilities, but helping customers on their consumption and adoption. And many of these capabilities now are click of a button. So it's not about large technical implementation, although some of them do require it, but many times it's about change management. And Arun really did pick up on this. So those change journeys, and for example, at Disney, it was about rolling out certain capabilities like Copilot. You're not going to do a broad stream for every agent in every use case, in every intent, in every scenario. So what were the common use cases? How do we prove its success? Build confidence in the agents, the human agents, to get accustomed to using Copilot and using those capabilities, and then progressively build. And what we see, if you look at our volume of AI consumption, in the last 6 months, Sheila, it's nearly doubling every month. Because what's happening is businesses are saying, all right, let's start, let's use it, let's see what the experience is, and then let's build upon it, and they're getting more and more comfortable. We have to be a part of that and help them, which is why the AI Center of Excellence. The second, and you touched on it earlier, partners are critical for this, because they are the change agents. So the systems integrators, whether it be the Deloittes or the Accentures that are here and sponsoring us here this week, but there are many others who help the change journey and map that out. so that as we use the technology and expansion, that they are there and working with our customers. But they need to know our technology intimately to be able to then serve our customers. So our job, enable, support them. And that was my commitment to the partners yesterday. Our commitment is to help them be the best that they can be with our platform. And in turn, not only does that help NiCE, it obviously helps our end customers.
Excellent. Final question. And the final question I often ask a customer when I'm asking them about how they have transitioned to CX1, for example. The question I ask them is, what advice would you give to a customer who hasn't yet adopted CX1 about the reasons to do it? So let me shift the question slightly. What advice would you have for customers who have not adopted an AI strategy, have not even started deploying AI? What advice would you have for them in terms of when and how they should get started?
Yeah. It's a great question, tough one, because we know every customer is different and unique. But you're going to hear this, and for those who we're here at the event, our head of and president of CX, Barry Cooper, will be on stage this morning. And without stealing his thunder, he's going to talk about start with the platform. And what he means by that is, when you start with the CX1 Empower platform, it does not mean you need to use everything at once. But once you start with a platform, you get all of the knowledge, all of the agent capability, all of the workflow capability, and then it's a matter of turning on those. And the good news is once you've got the data, whether you do a copilot or use auto summary or you're using base capability around your ACD, you start with a platform and it's building on top of it, which means you don't have disparate solutions. You're not trying to connect fragmented data or fragmented systems. You've got a platform that is able to deliver all of your needs, and your choice, back to our earlier conversation, is the change journey. At NiCE, we are obsessed about creating this NiCE world. We very much know that our customers live and breathe, and their brand is dependent on the feedback they get from their end consumers. And so the brand loyalty, the brand trust that they have built so long to create, this needs to be an incremental gain. We believe it can be an exponential change and a positive one, but that is building trust, proving it again and again. And so start with a platform and we'll build a journey in partnership with you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. It was great spending some time with you here.
Likewise.